Thanks for joining me on today's episode of Ask NCM. I'm Rick Wegley, one of the Institute instructors here at the Institute in Kansas City, Missouri. I had the opportunity to spend a few days this week down in Dallas, Texas with one of our prestigious Toyota 20 groups. And it was a wonderful meeting. There was a lot of topics we covered on that. Most of them were driven towards fixed operations, which is my reason for my invite in. But one of the topics in particular pertained to inventory and equipment return on investment. Since most of the participants were from the variable operations side of the business on that, I did my best to kind of connect the dots between all of the dealership departments to help them better understand that. So simply put, return on investment is how much money is our money making us, if you will. Okay, so when I walk through a service dealership period, I walk through the parking lot and I see lots of cars and I see lots of trucks out there. But what I don't really see is so much cars and trucks as I see piles of cash. Okay, and our job as managers and dealer operators is to get the best return we can on our investment. Okay, when I walk through the parts department, I see spark plugs and water pumps and belts and such hanging around on the walls, but I don't really see the parts. What I'm seeing there again is $100 bills and $50 bills. It's all cash. It's all an investment in an inventory. And again, our job as managers and dealer operators is to get the highest return on those investments. One that's a little bit less tangible, but is when I walk through a service department and I see empty or idle bays out there, it's like a meter running on the wall. You can just hear the ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching of time that's being lost in these bays, which is our service inventory. And although it's a little bit more difficult to tangibly measure ROI on a bay, what you can do is look at the metrics of effective labor rate, determine what one additional hour per day of production from each of your technicians could do for your profitability when you annualize that out. It's always triple-digit figures, and in some cases I've seen it well into the millions of dollars, depending on the size of the operation. In the parts department, we take and we actually divide the annualized net profit by the average inventory value to show a true return on investment. And it is not uncommon to see a triple-digit return on investment. We're talking 300+% return on investment of a parts inventory for a high-performing parts department. Okay, the same calculations can really be applied to used vehicle inventories, and not just the total inventory, but you can actually break that down to each individual vehicle that you sell based on the age of the vehicle. And in our classes, we use what we call a daily holding cost calculation based on dealership departmental expenses for used vehicles on what it takes to get a return on investment per car that we actually sell out of that department. Okay, so when you're trying to determine return on investment, something that might be kind of a helpful tool to kind of keep in mind to figure out if I'm going to make an investment and buy a piece of equipment, or I'm going to invest in a marketing program, or I'm going to upgrade my CRM or my DMS systems on that. When you start looking at increase in expenses on that, a simple calculation that you could use would be to take the dollar investment that you're going to make and divide it by your departmental, or if you're looking at dealership level, dealership net to sales profitability. Okay, not net to gross, but net to sales profitability. That will tell you, by taking the dollar of the investment, dividing it by your actual true net to sales percentage ratio, which may run anywhere from 0.2 up to maybe 7, which is not going to be much higher than that unless you're a real super rock star. And that will tell you how many dollars you will need to generate in sales to break even on the investment that you made. It can be kind of a startling number. We actually use the same type of a calculation to demonstrate as well how discounting negatively affects profitability in fixed operations and in variable sales departments. Okay, so I hope this helps. I'm Rick Wegley, and thanks for joining me on this month's edition of Ask NCM. If you have a question or a topic you'd like to have us address on a future episode, please email your request to askncm@ncmassociates.com. Thanks.